Okay, we go to the next sutta, 12.10. Monks, before my enlightenment, while I was still a bodhisattva, not yet fully enlightened, it occurred to me, alas, this world has fallen into trouble, in that it is born, ages and dies. It passes away and is reborn, yet it does not understand the escape from this suffering, headed by aging and death. When now will an escape be discerned from this suffering headed by aging and death? Then monks, it occurred to me, when what exists, does aging and dying come to be? By what is aging and dying conditioned? Then monks, through careful attention, there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there is birth, aging and death or dying comes to be. Aging and death has birth as its condition. I'll stop here for a moment. So here, the Buddha was trying to, the Bodhisattva, he was trying to analyze, why is there suffering in this world? Then he realized, it's because we are born into this world, therefore we must suffer. If we are not born into this world, then there's no suffering. So the cause of aging and dying, that means suffering, is birth. Then monks, it occurred to me, when what exists, does birth come to be? By what is birth conditioned? Then monks, through careful attention, there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there is being, birth comes to be. Birth has existence, has being as its condition. Then stop here for a moment. So here the Buddha is thinking, why is there birth? Then he realized, there is birth because there is this perception, I exist, I am. When you have that feeling, I exist in this world, then you perceive that you are born into this world, right? Then monks, it occurred to me, when what exists, or when what, this word bhava can be exist, does being come to be? When what exists, does being come to be? By what is being conditioned or existence conditioned? Then monks, by careful attention, there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there is clinging, being comes to be. Clinging, being has clinging as its condition. Stop here a moment. As I explained just now, once you enjoy life, you cling to it, then you have that perception that I enjoy, I exist. So that's why the being comes into. Then monks, it occurred to me, when what exists, does clinging come to be? By what is clinging conditioned? Then monks, through careful attention, there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there is craving, clinging comes to be. Clinging has craving as its condition. Then monks, it occurred to me, when what exists, does craving come to be? By what is craving conditioned? Then monks, through careful attention, there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there is feeling, craving comes to be. Craving has feeling for its condition. Stop here for a moment. So here, when there is pleasant feeling, because feeling, there is pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, and neutral feeling. So when you experience pleasure, when you have a pleasurable feeling, then you crave, the craving arises. Just like a small kid never tasted ice cream, you give him ice cream, when he tastes it, the pleasurable feeling makes him crave for it. Then monks, it occurred to me, when what exists, does feeling come to be? By what is feeling conditioned? Then monks, through careful attention, there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there is contact, feeling comes to be. Feeling has contact as its condition. Then monks, it occurred to me, when what exists, does contact come to be? By what is contact conditioned? Then monks, through careful attention, there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there are the six sense bases, contact comes to be. Contact has the six sense bases as its condition. Then monks, it occurred to me, when what exists, do the six sense bases come to be? By what are the six sense bases conditioned? Then monks, through careful attention, there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. when there is mentality, materiality, the six sense bases come to be. The six sense bases have mentality, materiality as their condition. Then monks, it occurred to me, when what exists, does mentality and materiality come to be? By what is mentality and materiality conditioned? Then monks, to careful attention, there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there is consciousness, mentality and materiality comes to be. Mentality and materiality has consciousness as its condition. Stop here for a moment. These two, Dhamma-rupa and Vijnana, mentality, materiality, and consciousness, you must always consider them as a pair, because they arise together and cease together. So, these, because they are twins, so you have to see that when consciousness and mentality, materiality exists, that means there is consciousness, then the being comes into exists, then the being must have the six senses. It's through the six senses that he perceives the world. So from there, when we have the six senses, then contact at the six senses occurs, which gives rise to feeling, etc. Then monks, it occurred to me, when what exists, does consciousness come to be? By what is consciousness conditioned? Then monks, through careful attention, there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there is volition, consciousness comes to be. Consciousness has volition as its condition. Then monks, it occurred to me, when what exists, does volition come to be? By what is volition conditioned? Then monks, through careful attention, there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there is ignorance, volition comes to be. Volition has ignorance as its condition. Thus, with ignorance as condition, volition comes to be. With volition as condition, consciousness, etc., etc. Such is the origin of this whole mass of suffering. Now, origination. Thus, monks, in regard to things unheard before, there arose in me vision, knowledge, wisdom, true knowledge and light. Stop here for a moment. So here, the Buddha's experience was that when he was considering this dependent origination, he considered and he understood, and the mind became bright because he basically his mind is already bright. But when he applied his clear mind to contemplating dependent origination, then light arose. Just like on the night of enlightenment, when the Buddha was practicing hard to become enlightened, then when he attained enlightenment, the Buddha said, light arose, knowledge arose. So same here. So the rest of the sutta is the reverse. Then monks, it occurred to me, when what does not exist, does aging and death not come to be? With the cessation of what does the cessation of aging and death, that means suffering, come about? Then monks, to careful attention, there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there is no birth, aging and death, that means suffering, does not come to be. With the cessation of birth comes cessation of aging and death. Then monks, it occurred to me, when what does not exist, does birth not come to be? By the cessation of what does the cessation of birth come about? Then monks, to careful attention, etc., then he realized, when there is no being, birth does not come to be. With the cessation of being comes cessation of birth, etc., etc. So I won't repeat the rest. The links, the 12 links are quite the same. So here you see, sometimes, like in this case, the Buddha comes to understanding just through logic, just thinking clearly. Why is there suffering? When you contemplate the reason for suffering, then you realize it's because this world is a world of suffering. So it's because we are born into this world that we suffer. If we are not born into this world, then we don't suffer. Then why are we born into this world? Because we have that feeling, I exist, I am. Once you have that I, then you see yourself in the world. Then why is there bhava, that being? Because of clinging. We cling. That's why at the moment of death, we refuse to die. We still cling to life. So that strength, that willpower brings us into the next birth. Okay, since these suttas are quite tough going, I won't go fast. I'll stop here for the moment. And we can discuss. This type of suttas are not easy to understand, but if you take the trouble to understand, the Buddha says, he who sees dependent origination sees the Dhamma. So when you see the Dhamma, the Buddha says, you have attained the Dhamma Chakku, vision of the Dhamma, that makes you a stream enterer. That's why it's important to go through these suttas and try to digest it, try to understand. It'll be easier to understand if you have a clear mind, or that clear mind comes from meditation. Any question? Mentality and materiality. Now, there's name and form. Actually, it's not necessary that these conditions, that it can be the other way also. It's just convenience lah, because in some other sutta it's explained that they come together. Just like some suttas, they explain because of ignorance, you have asava. Asava is mental, uncontrolled mental outflows lah. And then some suttas, they have the reverse. Because of asava, you have ignorance. So you must see more suttas to understand. Cannot be what we call si pan. Oh yeah. I mentioned the two arise together and cease together. They come in a pair. You cannot separate them. Because when you have consciousness, you must have an object of consciousness. As far as these six consciousness are concerned, they must always have an object. It's only in the state of parinibbana that the Buddha says that ultimate state is that a type of consciousness without object. Yeah, sometimes some people have karmic obstacle. Time is not right. No? No, I don't understand. That means they are not spiritually mature enough. When a person is spiritually mature, then your mind is such that you are ready to let go. There are some people, they come into the Dhamma, they still got a lot of clinging, so they cannot let go a lot of their bad habits, their bad character and all that. So, Yeah, must always see our mind and admit our faults. There are some people who always refuse to see their faults, And so even you try to tell them, they get angry. Yeah. Then you have to change. If you see your fault, you have to change. Yeah. Yes, that's why the Buddha says the spiritual path is a very gradual path. Just like the ocean slopes becomes deeper very gradually. Does not become deep suddenly. So in the same way, the spiritual path, we progress step by step. It takes many years to progress. Because of worries, because of obligations and all that. That's why the Buddha encouraged people who want to practice the spiritual path to renounce the home life. If you have a business to worry about, a family to worry about, you don't have to do anything. I just pop up, keep popping up. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. 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 Of habit. Habit is one thing. Another thing is because you always have all these worries. In fact, like doing business is very bad for the mental cultivation for the spiritual path. People maybe who makan gaji, they work for somebody else, they don't have so much worries. If you are the boss, you have so much worries. How to let go? How to stop worrying?
I think somebody told me that the spiritual part and the worldly part are one opposite function.
Yeah. The Buddha said the worldly path goes this way, the spiritual path goes this way. Very hard to combine. Yeah. Sincerity the most important, whether you are sincere to walk that path or not. A lot of people are not, they say only they want to walk the spiritual path, but they cannot let go, is it? If they cannot let go, then they have to let go. Generally, people who have a good life, you have a lot of money and all that, generally it's more difficult to let go. But in the suttas, the Buddha, there's one sutta, I think in the Majjhima Nikaya, the Buddha says that is not always the case. The Buddha quoted a case of a poor man and his wife is ugly looking and old, and he's got empty house, got nothing, owe people money and all that. Still, you ask him to let go also, he cannot let go. I see, not necessarily that he's poor, he can let go. On the other hand, you may have somebody from a very rich family like Siddhartha Gautama. The wife is young and beautiful, and the family is rich. In spite of all that, also he let go and go off. So it's the time. Every one of us, we have a time. Whether your time has come or not. When your time has come, nobody can hold you back. Yeah. No. If you let go too fast, then you will also go back. Yeah. No. Oh. No. When we see the light of the Dhamma, it's not a physical light. It's the understanding of the Dhamma. Oh, you have to go through more suttas and then meditate more, and then slowly, over the years, you will slowly digest. You cannot rush one. Takes time. Also, you must know Why we want to know this sequence? Because we want to break this chain. So you want to break this chain, you also have to understand now where you can break. The 12 links there, you cannot simply break at any point one. Only one place only you can break. That one later you have to understand. Now you haven't studied enough sutta, you don't know that. Huh? Not so easy. Not so easy. Because
you know when the anger comes up, it's ready, you flare up ready before you.
I know of one teacher of this particular meditation. He was practicing and teaching for many years, and finally he realized it doesn't work. Just to see it is not enough. Just like the mindfulness, a lot of people think you practice mindfulness, see your defilements, then you can get rid of it. No, because the defilements are deep-rooted. You can see it, but you cannot pull out the roots. The only way to pull out the roots is to go down to the roots. And how to go down to the roots? Go deep into your mind. That's why samadhi is so important. When we cultivate samadhi, the deeper samadhi you get, the deeper you go into your mind. So when you go deeper in your mind, then only you are able to pull it up. Just mindfulness is not enough. Just like telling somebody, somebody is a drunkard. You tell him, drinking is no good. You are harming yourself, you are harming your family, you are not working, your family is suffering and all that. He knows, but he cannot let go. He cannot throw away the bottle. It's a crutch lah. If he's using that crutch for so many years, you ask him to throw away, he cannot. But if his mind is strong enough, it's different. If his mind is strong enough, then he realizes it's no good for him. He just chuck it off, whether your mind is strong enough or not. There are some people where the mind is so strong that they can do it. There's one, I think in the Thera Gatha or somewhere, mentioned about one layman. He is a very rich man, and every day he enjoys seeing his slaves dancing and singing for him, and he'll drink liquor until he gets drunk, see all the slaves dancing and drinking for him. But because this person has what we call good roots, the former life he was an ascetic, and the Buddha knew, so the Buddha came to him. So the Buddha just walked past his house. When he saw the Buddha, something from the past struck him, Something from the past struck him. And when he looked at the Buddha, his mind became one point. When he looked at the Buddha, he focused his mind on the Buddha. His mind became one pointed. All his drunkenness he shook off. Then he went to see the Buddha and paid respect to Buddha, everything, and then became a follower. So you see, if you have that strength of mind, that's why samadhi is so important. If your mind is strong, when you focus it on something, it's like a laser beam. So that's why when we hear the Dhamma, for somebody who has a good samadhi, when he hears the Dhamma, he just has to concentrate on it. He'll understand. Whereas a person with a groggy mind, blur mind, how many times he hears the sutta also, it doesn't penetrate. He's like a drunk, sloth and topper. A lot of people don't understand the use of samadhi. Yeah? You have an internal voice talking to you. That probably is the mind is not concentrated enough, so you still have this talking in the mind. Just focus your attention on your object. Don't think about it. Just like sometimes when you are meditating, if your mind is not concentrated enough, you think, today very hot. The sand fly biting my ear. My leg is painful. All these can be said to be stray thoughts. But if your mind is focused on your object, then even the sand fly bite you also you don't notice. Even your leg pain also you don't notice. All these things you don't notice. Oh, sadhu to you. That's why the Dhamma is so powerful. Like the bandit Angulimala. So many people try to catch him. So many people try to kill him. Nobody could fight with him. But the Buddha, just with words of Dhamma, changed him completely. Not much. You have to understand exactly each link one by one. That's why we have to combine our study of the suttas with constant meditation. Meditation is to sharpen our mind. Then we study the suttas to give us that wisdom. No point. No. If they want to recite, I think it would be better if they recite in their local language. At least they can understand.
So after I take all this worry, so I listen to CD. So the thing worry, the worry are all that go away.
Yeah. You have the interest in the Dhamma, so when you listen to it, it appeals to you. But some people who don't have the affinity for the Dhamma, they cannot listen. Yeah. Yeah. That's why you see people like Devadatta, with the Buddha as a teacher also, he goes to hell. In spite of all his jhanas and psychic power and all that, also he goes to hell. So that's why we have to be very careful. The only way not to be reborn is to have dispassion. you totally tired of the world. So if a person is bedridden and is sick of the body, he may be sick of his body, but he still cannot let go the grandson, the granddaughter, the son, the daughter, and all that. So the attachment, there are many types of attachment, you see. So it's not just body only. So if you have any kind of attachment at all, you still cannot get out of samsara. For example, there are some people, maybe their business goes bankrupt, and then they go and commit suicide. They don't want to live anymore. But they still come back, because even though they don't want to live, actually inside, they still want. That's why many years ago, I saw in the newspaper about one young man in Singapore. He jumped from a high building. The moment he jumped, he realized he doesn't want to die. And he shouted, I forgot what he shouted, I want to live, or something like that. Too late, he realized. I also know somebody who, out of depression, he tried to commit suicide many times. He did not succeed. Finally, one day, he jumped into the mining pond. Then when he was drowning, he panicked and swam out of the pond. You see? You think you want to die, but when you're about to die, then you realize you don't want to die. The clinging inside there, the ego, you haven't let go of that ego. As long as you have the ego, you want to live, you want to protect the life. The instinct to survive is a very strong, will to live. In fact, later I'll explain that's the cause of this round, this 12 links, is because of this will to live. This craving for existence and craving for non-existence, they bring us to rebirth. The craving for existence we understand because we want to live. But the craving for non-existence, there are two types. One is a person who wants to commit suicide because of seeing dukkha. He doesn't want to live anymore. So he will try many times until he succeeds, until he dies. But that person, his heart is burning. It's very agitated. So when he dies, he cannot enter Nibbana. Nibbana is a cool state. You have to be totally cool, let go of everything, then only you can enter Nibbana. So a person who commits suicide, he will definitely be reborn, even though he has that desire not to be reborn. The other one is ascetic. Ascetic, he is feeling so much dukkha that he wants to get liberated from rebirth. So he strives very hard, just like our Buddha. Before our Buddha was enlightened, he tried all ways, all kinds of ascetic practice. He sees all the different types of ascetics practicing. He just follow them. So all these ascetic practices, he does it with an extreme desire for liberation. So this extreme desire, because his mind is agitated, is so strong, he cannot get liberation. That's why the first sutta I read in the Samyutta Nikaya, the Buddha said, when he strove too hard, he got whirled around. When he stood still, he sank. So without striving too hard and without standing still, he crossed the flood. So the middle path, we put in the effort because it's necessary, but the desire to become liberated must not be too strong. Your desire to become liberated is too strong, your mind is agitated, you're not playing it cool, so you cannot attain cool state. Okay, shall we end here?